Hello everyone, this is Daleen Barton with naturalfertilityinfo.com, and we are going to cover tips on avoiding sugar through the holidays and how sugar actually affects our fertility. So, number one thing that sugar does for our fertility that is negative is causes hormonal imbalance. And the way that it does this is when we consume a sugary food, it spikes our blood sugar levels and creates sort of like a high in our body. And this lasts for about 15 to 30 minutes. And after that, blood sugar levels plummet. Now this directly affects our adrenal glands because when that plummet happens, our adrenal glands are stimulated to release cortisol and adrenaline. We wouldn't typically release adrenaline and cortisol in a reaction to a stressful state. So this puts our body in a stressful state. Over time, say we're constantly consuming sugary foods throughout the day, then our adrenal glands are going to be stimulated to keep releasing this. Over time, they become sluggish, and this may lead to adrenal fatigue, which directly affects hormonal imbalance. So, the hormones that it affects are our androgens, which are DHEA and testosterone, which affect egg health and our libido. And this also affects estrogen and progesterone. So something to consider, you might want to read over our adrenal health article as well as understanding the endocrine system, because the adrenal glands are part of the endocrine system, and each endocrine gland has an important function for hormonal balance. If one of those are not working correctly, they're not communicating to the rest of the endocrine glands, and this directly affects hormonal balance. So next, we have insulin resistance. So our pancreas, which is also part of the endocrine system, secretes insulin to convert sugar in our blood to energy for our cells. Overconsumption of sugar causes the pancreas to release more and more insulin, and over time this may lead to insulin resistance. So insulin resistance directly affects fertility in a number of ways, and let's go over some of those. So it disrupts ovulation, it limits the maturation of the egg, it affects implantation, may lead to miscarriage, and contributes to PCOS. Other ways that sugar affects our fertility contributes to yeast infections, may contribute to making PMS worse, lowers the immune system, which leaves us directly open to all sorts of infections and disease. It decreases vitamin and mineral stores as well. So the sugars that we are going to want to avoid, and the key word here is white. White table sugar, white flours, so high fructose corn syrup. Be sure and read your labels. High fructose corn syrup is in most prepackaged products, even some spaghetti sauces, maple syrup, peanut butter even. So really read those labels. I know that a lot of bread companies are trying to reduce or switch from high fructose corn syrup because of the obesity campaign that's happening in America. So avoid high fructose corn syrup, read your labels, white flour, white rice, white corn, and alcohol. So those are things we're going to want to try to avoid, not only through the holiday season. We may not be able to completely avoid them, but also daily in our life, like replacing these. So some alternatives would be, number one would be stevia. Stevia does not affect blood sugar levels at all. It's 300 times sweeter than sugar, so a little goes a long way. Also, xylitol is another one. It doesn't affect the blood sugar levels at all and actually may help reduce the occurrence of yeast infection, and then the next ones that I would say would be like honey and agave. Those do spike the blood sugar levels some, so you're really going to want to limit those. They don't spike it as much as sugar would, but you still need to really, if you have PCOS or diabetes, you're going to want to reduce your amount of consuming anything that's going to spike your blood sugar levels. So 5 tips for eating right through the holidays. And this doesn't just go for the winter holiday season. This goes for any holiday. Keeping these in mind, because I know in America every holiday is filled with tons of sweets, tons of baked goods made with white flours, and it's easy when they're around the house to just consume them. So 1, use those sugar alternatives that we talked about, especially if you are making baked goods or candy. Experiment. Maybe you're not going to be able to do it this year, but other holidays are coming up. New Year's is coming up, Valentine's Day, Easter. Starting to think ahead to learning how to cook with sugar alternatives and switching them in your daily diet. If you put sugar in your tea or coffee in the morning, maybe trying out some stevia instead. Switch all of your white flour out for whole grain flours. I like to use quinoa flour. Whole wheat flour is another good one. There's buckwheat, amaranth. There's all kinds of flours now that are whole grains. So something to consider there. 3, avoid alcoholic beverages. If you can limit your alcohol intake during the holidays and, just in general, it's really going to help your sugar levels in the body. Really this season, try to avoid, if you are going to drink some alcoholic beverages, try to avoid the ones that are made with soda, so cocktails or ones that are made with concentrated fruit juices. Those are both high in sugar, and then the alcohol itself is high in sugar as well, and then you have a double dose, so really try to limit those. Next, when you're at a holiday party, try to choose a fresh piece of fruit or a high protein snack instead of going straight to the cookie tray or having pie or cake or candy, fudge, any of those things. You're going to get the sweetness from the fruit, and then say there's a handful of nuts there's a nut tray with a nutcracker. Eating a high protein snack is really going to help a sugar craving. Listen to your body. If you're craving sugar, stop for a second and think, what is my body really telling me that I need? Yes, I would love to eat this, but am I just really hungry in general? What could I eat that would be healthier for me? And protein can really help curb that. Also, maybe you need to get some extra sleep. Maybe you're really actually thirsty and you just need to drink a huge glass of water. That might curb that sugar craving as well. Next, 5, drink a fertility smoothie or a fresh juice a day, and include a dark leafy green, kale, spinach, spirulina, chard, something like that that's going to boost your vitamin and mineral level. If you can get a fertility smoothie with some fertility superfoods, or you can get in a fresh juice a day, you're going to know that you got a huge nutritional boost. That's going to balance that sugar overindulgence side out. So you know that you got all this vital nutrients and minerals and vitamins from that smoothie or juice, and then you can go on and feel good about other food choices that you're making throughout the day because you know that you already got a ton of nutrition. So, for example, in the morning, wake up before you're going to, say you're going to go to Christmas dinner or you're going to go to a party, make sure you get that in the day. That fertility smoothie with the fertility superfoods or the fresh juice. I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out the article for more detailed information on how sugar affects fertility and information on the 5 tips I just gave you. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day.